Hello, fellow Martians. This is Mission2Mars Academy online podcast with global innovators and entrepreneurs. I am Tatiana Indina, and today we will speak about space travel, adventure, and entrepreneurship. And how those three are connected, you will hear from our guest today, who is an Icelandic entrepreneur and innovator, and an outstanding and amazing change maker in so many arenas. Gisli Gislason from Iceland is our guest today. He is an amazing entrepreneur and innovator for a number of reasons. Number one, he is a future space traveler with Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic, and he already has a ticket to go to space in the nearest future and currently preparing himself for this mission. Number two, Gisli is an entrepreneur who is very passionate about the environment, and he founded two companies, Northern Lights Energy and Even, in Iceland to make Iceland the first fuel-free country in the world. And number three, he is also a leader of a real treasure hunt expedition that aims to find treasures of the Dutch ship that sunk in 1667, which is pretty unique and outstanding story itself. So Gisli, welcome, and we look forward to hear all your amazing stories today and to get inspiration from you.
Thank you. It's a good introduction. Thank you.
I'm glad that you like. We were preparing for to meet with you today, and I guess my first question would be will be about space. There are so many people in the world who dream to go to space and to become a part of Richard Branson's first flight. And how did you manage to do that? Was it hard? How did you get to this point when you became a space traveler?
It's actually started when I was 9. Then they put men on the moon, and I was, living here in Iceland, looking at the TV, black and white, and I thought it was amazing. And but at that time I thought, it's probably impossible for me to go to space, but I really believe that anything is possible. So I always kept it in my mind. And in 2010, I heard some news about Branson, having a company, and he wanted to, get people into space. So I looked it up and actually just got the phone number, called the ladies at the office, and they told me a little bit about it, and then they sent me, a draft of a contract. It happened really fast, and I signed and sent back, and did my first payment, and then I told my wife. She was not very happy, but it was done.
Oh my God, this sounds so easy. Just like that, many of us will be able to shop for space travel tickets. Like we go on the flight booking websites and book our flights to fly to next city. So very soon we hope it's going to happen with space travel, but it's still pretty expensive. How much did you pay for that ticket? May I ask you?
At that time, it was like $200,000, but that was the same amount as if I wanted to get me a new Range Rover in Iceland, that would cost $200,000. So it was either go to space or buy me a car. And since they didn't even have an electric car, that choice was easy.
This is amazing. So tell us, how does the preparation go? Being inside now, you're officially enrolled to this mission, and how does the preparation go? When is the timeline, and what are the practical steps actually to get ready for the flight?
Actually, we meet a lot. The team that is, all the people that have bought tickets, and it's really like one big party. We meet and we talk about this, and then we go to different trainings. Like in Philadelphia, we did what do you call it? Zero gravity, where you get 3G on your face, 4.6 G, and so that's really amazing. And then we have to do a lot of preparation, and it's fun. But we have had a lot of time because there was an accident in 2014, so everything was really put on a little bit slow motion, getting everything secured. And but now this year they've done 2 space shots, and that went very well. So now we are just waiting for Mr. Branson to go on the first trip.
And when is that happening? When is the official date right now?
We haven't got a date on it, but it will be this year, I think. And I would predict probably the same day as when we have the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. I don't know. It was just my
That
my
would
guess.
be a nice touch to make the next step for humanity. Well, this is an exciting event. Everybody is looking forward to it. And how many people will be going with Branson together with you? Did you meet them already?
Oh yeah. Met a lot of these people. There are 6 passengers in each flight. So there are 2 pilots and 6 passengers. So my ticket is, I think, number 258. So a few trips before I go. So I'm not, I'll just wait. It's no problem.
But does it require significant physical training? That's what we would expect, because many astronauts would need to go through certain types of health procedures and physical preparation, and there is a lot of instructions probably that you need to follow, and how do you attend specific courses that prepare you for this? How often does this happen? So tell us about this whole exciting.
We've done a little bit of this. Yeah, we've done a little bit of this, but probably like a year before you go, you will have to start doing some training and stuff. So I'm not worried about that. It will happen.
So you're not too worried. It doesn't affect your schedule in any way. I know you're a busy businessman as well, but so the space travel thing is just, you have your ticket and you're just waiting. When they tell you go, you're gonna go, but that's not really being disruptive to your everyday life today.
No, this is probably will override everything. So you'll just move things away. So this will happen.
And what did your wife say when she learned that your husband is going to space? What was her reaction?
She was not very happy, but she's okay now. She's I take her with me, when we're meeting other people that are going to space, and it's a big adventure. So she's okay now, but it took a little bit of time.
Yeah, it's not the same, I guess, when your husband tells you, I'm traveling to China, or I have a business trip to America. It's like, hey, honey, I go to space.
Yeah.
So I can imagine very soon it can be reality for so many spouses out there. Excited. So what are your expectations, Gisli? What personally, you mentioned that you dreamed of this from very childhood. So how do you feel right now? What it brings to your life today, and what are some of the anticipations that you have from that travel? What do you have a specific plan? What you're going to be doing there? Will you write a book? Will you do a social media post about it, Facebook Live?
The trip will not take so long time. We will fly up to 60,000 feet, and then they drop the plane, and we go 100 kilometers in 70 seconds. So it's a lot of, I will have no wrinkles for a while, and then we go, in zero gravity, and then we need to land at the same place, so we cannot stay there for long. So we have not so long time where we can float around and look at the Earth. And I think there's about 500 people, roughly 500 people that have been to space from the beginning of mankind. But with this program that Richard Branson has done, they will probably within 2 or 3 years send more people into space than all the years before that.
That's definitely exciting and very, very, very honorable mission. We will be looking forward to talk to you when you get back and share your impressions from your first space travel. Um, okay, so now speaking of the leadership in space, and you met, I know, Richard Branson, and you met Elon Musk, and those are inspiring leaders and entrepreneurs just like yourself. So what was what are your memories maybe, or some of the impressions of meeting those people, and why do you think they are the ones who drive innovation in space today?
At least these two guys, they are in a very special league. You know, they're very special guys, and they actually also believe that anything is possible. So that's really good start. And they never give up. These are two really good qualities. And I enjoy, you know, talking to Branson. He's a really cool guy, and you know, he's always, when we meet, you know, the whole group, he's talking to the press. He's always working. We are just hanging around and having drinks, but he's always working. I think the same is with Elon Musk. This guy has many projects, and he's always working. So sometimes that's fun, but sometimes not.
Yeah, I agree that everybody who makes an outstanding contribution to innovation in any sphere is a very hardworking person, that's for sure. But can you share some of the stories, how you met Richard Branson, how you met Elon Musk? That would be really interesting for our followers to hear, because for many of them, for many of us, still those are the figures of leaders that you do not get to see every day, and just being able for somebody to just casually chat with them and learn from them, or do business with them, is a definitely outstanding experience. So tell us your stories, how you met those two innovators.
Yeah, the first time I met Elon was in 2009 on a meeting. There was an exhibition, car exhibition in Frankfurt, and I had just bought a Tesla Roadster, and you know, that was probably one of the first cars that came to Europe. And at that time, Tesla was in a rough sea. You know, there were rumors that they would go under, they would never deliver the cars, and you know, Elon was running out of money, and at that time I made a deposit for $50,000 for the car, and I talked to some guys in the office in California that were there at the time, and they remember that there was a deposit from Iceland for $50,000, and they said either, you know, they don't have any internet connection in Iceland and don't know what's happening in the world about Tesla, at least, or the guy is crazy. So maybe I was crazy, but I got the car, and I believed in the company. I believed in Elon. So then I met him first time was in Frankfurt. I wanted to buy cars for Iceland because we had this project in Iceland. We wanted to change, you know, Iceland very fast into electric cars, stop using the gasoline, and you know, we thought it was really strange importing, you know, energy to Iceland, because we had the purest energy in the world, you know, 100% green electricity from hydro and geothermal. So why should we spend our valuable, you know, currency buying oil to Iceland and gasoline? So in my mind, that was stupid, because there were already electric cars. So I wanted to get at least 1,000 Teslas to Iceland as soon as possible. But of course, that was, you know, and at that time was, you know, it took many years. It was until 2013 I got the first Tesla to Iceland. So, you know, things were really slow. But that was really a great experiment to meet Elon and talk to him. And everyone had, you know, before we had the meeting, there were some guys that were talking to me, say what I could say at the meeting, you know, guiding me through this. And I said, yeah, I I want to ask him for, I want to buy 1,000, Tesla Model S, the new car. And he said, oh, no. Don't say that. Just say you want to buy 20. Don't say 1,000. That's, don't do that. And I promised not to do that. And when the meeting started, and I sat down, and Elon was at the end of the table and said, okay, Gisli, you're from Iceland. What can I do for you? And I said, I want to buy 1,000 Teslas from you. And he said, oh, this is the best I've heard all day. So
we can never go small with Elon Musk. And I now see why you guys both matched, right? Because you're both ambitious entrepreneurs and never dream small.
Yeah, and but it was really fun, and I remember the faces of all the guys in the room, because they specifically told me not to, talk about 1,000 cars. But even though I wanted to bring 1,000 cars to Iceland, there was a lot of hurdles on the way, and we were probably too early in Iceland. But we managed to change things that now everyone is thinking about electric cars in Iceland. We sold over 60 Teslas the first 2 years, which was really much. At that time I think there were maybe 10 Teslas in India, but we had 60 in Iceland. So it was really, really good. And that was, then I met Elon, of course, in some, events, like, when he was showing off the Tesla Model S for the first time in LA, in SpaceX, in the SpaceX building in one corner. I was there very early, and I ended up, getting into the, venue where they were going to show the car. And I saw 4 ladies standing at a table, waiting for everything to happen. And actually the guys at Tesla were really nervous. They didn't know if, there would be any people, will you have 100 or 200? They were just, didn't know. But I was, as I say, very early, but I started talking to these 4 ladies. And as it turns out, one of them was Elon's fiance. One was his mother, and one his sister, and their friend. So I was in a good company there, waiting until Elon came, and then they showed off the cars, and I got this, ride in one. It was, and we met Schwarzenegger. We were, I was talking to Elon in the outside in the parking lot when the security guards started to, strap off everything around us and told people to go. But I was talking to him, so we were there too. And then suddenly, the governor of California came walking towards us, and I was standing beside Elon. Oh, hello. So Elon started to show in the car. It was really fun. And then I met him in London and a few other places. And but in the early days, it was really easy to talk to him. He was, just mingling around. But now I think he has bodyguards. He's taking like a package, if he comes to an event, in and out. So it's a totally different story.
But still, I think for Elon Musk, it was also a very significant event to meet with you, because having supporters in Iceland who would want to buy 1,000 Teslas when like the rest of the world is kind of not very excited yet. In this early history of Tesla, definitely I think that he appreciated your interest and support to his company. And we will talk a little bit, we will talk more about your companies and what you do in energy field right now, but let's just finish this part with space, with the story of Richard Branson. So what was your first meeting with Richard Branson, and how is he different from Elon Musk, right? Because they are competing. Those are one of the main competitors in the private space race that is going on today in the world.
Yeah, but I don't really think they're competing. They're just doing their thing, both of them. And, but the first time I met Branson was when they were opening up Spaceport America in the Mojave Desert. If you Google Spaceport America, it's like from out of this world. It's a space station where they're going to, shoot up the Virgin Galactic spaceship, and it's amazing. It's in a middle of nowhere, and yeah, I think that was in 2010 or 2011 when they opened up its formal invitation and everything. We were there for a few days, and Branson was with us all the time, and opened up the space station and in the parties, and he's a really, really nice guy. And and then we met him. I met him up in a few other events. Even been in his like a family house in England in the countryside twice at parties, and I'm hopefully going.
Everybody definitely wants to hear about those parties with Richard Branson. How were they like?
All Virgin parties are perfect. It is, everything is very well planned, and I try to go to all the parties that Virgin is hosting. It's so much fun, and it's always something really special. Like we were at his family home in England, and then I think it was one of his friends or someone. He had a Spitfire, fighting plane from the World War II, one of the very few that is working with the original engine and everything. And he flew over us, it was amazing. It's always something special like this. Like, there was, when they were showing off the space shuttle itself, that was in London also, in England. Then, Buzz Aldrin came. That's spectacular. And then, I would probably going to in November with Branson and 16 other guys and girls in a safari in Kenya for a few days.
Are you going to be talking about space, or there is something else, some other interests that people share?
Yeah, because there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are going to space, and very special people. Some of them, many billionaires, and all the people I meet. Everyone has there's something special with them. It's amazing. So, but this trip to Kenya, there will be, I think, only 2 guys that are going to space, and of course Branson, but another, a group of entrepreneurs and innovators, and it will be fun. So
amazing. Gisli, you live the most interesting life. I can only imagine how many people want to live your life today. But it's definitely a price for success. I'm pretty sure that there were certain sacrifices made in order to be there in this company of the world's biggest innovators. So if you could tell us briefly about your path as an entrepreneur. I know you are extremely successful in Iceland and globally now, and you will tell us about your companies, but every beginner entrepreneur wants to know how this all started and how you make it to this top level, right? Because there are definitely certain right strategies that need to be implemented. So we want those younger entrepreneurs to learn from leaders like you to be able to repeat your success or better overcome it. So what is your story as an entrepreneur? How it all started, and like how you got to a point where you are today?
Actually, yeah, my parents, they divorced when I was 15, so I pretty much had to rely on myself, as I say. So I went to school, to the Commercial College of Iceland. From there I went to the university, and in Commercial College I met my wife, and we've been married ever since 1980. So it's a lot of years. So 39 years.
And that's another achievement that is also very important, to be successful in your family, personal life. a lot of work.
Definitely. You know,
We'll have a separate podcast about that one.
She's my best partner. But then I studied law, and when I graduated, you know, I was so strange. You know, I just opened up my own office, law office, which was very rare in Iceland at that time. You always went to some law office and practiced there, and then you took it from there. But I didn't want to do that. I just opened up my own office, and that worked very well. And I was practicing, you know, many years, and you know, did a lot of, you know, court cases, you know, both criminal and you know, so it was really very good experience. But then I got just fed up to here, and I said I have to do something else, and I started Remax, you know, Remax in Iceland. That was a totally new thing in Iceland, you know, because we had only small local, you know, real estate offices. But suddenly, you know, this giant was coming out to Iceland, and we opened up 7 big offices in Iceland in 1 year, which was amazing. And you know, in Remax even they said, "Oh, this is fantastic to, you know, get so much success in in a very short time." So, but then I was offered to get the license for Denmark, moved there, started that up, and but then I got an offer for it, for the operation, and I sold. So that was after, I think, 3 years of, you know, starting it in Denmark, which was really hard, but I was really lucky to, you know, get an offer, and I just sold out and got away. And then I came home to Iceland, and then, you know, I came back to Iceland in 2008. Then I had been 5 or 6 years, nearly 6 years in Denmark, and at that time there was, you know, building up, you know, the crisis, and in November all the banks, you know, went bankrupt, and the krona devalued about 50%, and I, you know, at that time I said, you know, hey, I must do something special for Iceland. What does Iceland have? And 2 of my colleagues or partners, we you know, saw that, you know, Iceland had a lot of cheap energy, the electricity, which was 100% green. So we started to figure out if electric cars are really coming. You know, this is, you know, in the summer of 2009. And we, especially me, I went all over the world to meet guys like Elon and, you know, in India, in China, in Europe, and other companies in the States, just to find out if this was real. Is this revolution going to happen? And I was very optimistic after being, you know, looking at all these factories, meeting all these people with, you know, really enthusiastic about it. So I came home back and said, hey guys, we have to do something. So we wrote actually a map, a plan for Iceland, how they could, you know, how we could get, you know, change everything and go electric. And the whole plan was here. This is in 2010, June 17th, 2010. We started even, and you know, electric vehicle environment. That's even, and we started to sell electric cars, promote electric cars, set up, you know, charging stations. And we were fighting the government and everyone because people thought we were just crazy. This is never going to happen. And, you know, but we didn't give up. And, but the biggest hurdle was, biggest problem was that there were, you know, electric cars were nearly twice price of, you know, gasoline car. So the first thing we had to do was to get, you know, the taxes off and the sales tax, which is called VAT in Iceland and Europe. And in June 2012, the government, you know, changed the law, so we didn't have to pay value-added tax, which was, I think, 26% at the time, on top of everything. So at that time, electric cars were a little bit more expensive than a regular car, and then we could really start selling, Teslas and all the other cars. And but if the government and everyone in Iceland, the companies, would have followed our plan, we would be in more success than Norway. Norway has today, most electric cars, pure electric cars per capita in the world. They will reach like 100,000 electric cars, on the roads this year. And actually, last year in 2018, 32% of all the new cars that were sold in the country were pure electric. So they really, did what we wanted Iceland to do. But the politicians and the people, they didn't really believe that this would happen, and they also wanted to check on methane for the cars or hydro, or they were strange, but we're here now.
You speak of those things like they are so easy, but there are so many. The most difficult tasks that I see in this ambitious goal, the plan to revolutionize the country's approach to energy and to promote this mass adoption of electric cars, right? It takes changing people's minds, not just negotiating with governments, right? It's just a huge economic effort. The number one question that our entrepreneurs would ask you is like, where did you get the capital to build your first company? How did you get the right team together? Where did you find those people? How did you get support from the government? How did you negotiate with the government? Those are all very, very hard things to accomplish. So any insights you can share with our audience?
Yeah, first, I've mostly used my money on the companies. When I was in Copenhagen, I was part of a big deal they were selling 3 big hotels in Copenhagen. So I got some finder's fee. And when I moved to Iceland, I still had the money in foreign currency. So when the krona devalued, I had money to start this. And on the first company, I did spend, I think, $1 million. Just, but I think, because of something that me and my partners did, and it's very important to get the right team also. I had very good guys with me that, we decided that we wouldn't listen to people when they told us, this is not possible. Everyone was telling us it's not possible. This will not happen. No one is going to drive electric cars. This is so stupid. So we decided to just don't think about it. Just keep on having the meetings. And we know that in some of the meetings that we had with the big companies and the governments and the other officials, we had the meeting, they listened to us. And then, we know that when we left the room, they were going, whoa, crazy guys. But that's okay. You have to believe in what you're doing. And we did that. And I think that this $1 million that I spent on the company was good for Iceland. It changed things here. And believe me, everyone in Iceland is going electric. They want to buy electric cars. So it's a big boom in this area. And within a few years, we will not import gasoline and oil to Iceland. So that's for me really important, because this is where
it's really great to be a part of the country that has those values, to care about environment, to make this transition to sustainable energy, and to be mindful about the ecology and global warming and all those things. And it's really amazing to see business people who care about those values more than they care about financial profits for their companies. What are some of the approaches that you apply to your business? What are some of the principles that you use in work in your companies, and maybe some of the values that define who you are and that differentiate you from other business companies in Iceland?
Yeah, what we have also done, and I tell my partners, and always, it's always the same. We should not let greed lead the way. So even though we can, do huge profit, but a little bit damage on the way, let's not do that. Greed is not good. And because what happened in Iceland before the crash, everyone was greedy. They thought, this will never end. This is it. We get as much money as we can, but everyone lost everything. So that's not the right way. So it's better to just, take the greed factor out of the equation, and move on, do it in a healthy and good way. And if you lose, then that's okay. You'll just be fair. But if you win, it's a bigger victory. It's, you feel much better. And you can go to sleep, without, thinking about what you did today, because, as I say, would you spend $200,000 to go to space or buy a Range Rover? I don't know. I want to go to space.
Yeah, I think dream big. Yeah, and also kind of being very pro social impact. So what I see and those innovators and change makers and really big inspiring leaders for the rest of the world are people who actually think more about the impact long term rather than they would speak about some short term benefits for them or for their business or for their families. So trying to make an impact and make a world different and leave it as a different place after you're gone, make it like something else.
Yeah.
And just really change the way things are if you can. And many of people like yourself actually can do that. What about the second company, Gisli, Northern Lights Energy? Is it doing similar things that Ivan, or is it just another stage? But how are those two companies different?
That was really the mother company because we were going to do a lot of other things. We wanted to open up a battery factory in Iceland, for cars. And there were a few other projects we were going to do, but the most of our time went into event to promote electric cars, sell electric cars, and we wanted to take even to the global market, 100% online sales of cars, take out the middlemen, all the dealerships, or just take them away, because you could just go online and buy the car and get it delivered. And most of the cars we sold were just online. And actually, that's what Elon wants to do now. He doesn't want to have any showrooms. He just wants you to go online and buy the car. So that's the future of buying cars, because you will get all the information you need online. You will, talk to your friends. You'll drive your friend's car. You will go to events and drive the new cars. So you don't, for example, the dealerships, they take about 30% of the car goes into that, section of selling you the car. So if you could get it like 20% cheaper, a new car, you would like that. That was what we were trying to do, because we want to get the electric car lower price than a gasoline car. And to do that, we had to cut, everything off. And the dealerships, they are, taking a lot of the price of the car for themselves. So if you can get that out of the way, that would be better. But talking about also the goals that, you have to follow to be successful, one of them is, don't be afraid of failing. Don't be, if the minute you start to be, afraid that you might fail in what you're doing or lose all your money, then it's gone. Then you go in a certain another part, then you're not an entrepreneur anymore. You are, you don't believe in what you're doing. You're afraid, and you don't want to make any mistakes, and then the entrepreneurship is gone. You have to, believe in what you are doing and never be afraid of failing. That's a part of this. Not everything will go as planned. It never does. But if you're really lucky, you get it to the end. But you'll never get there if you start to be, afraid of failing. And so, as I say to my friends and the partners and my family and my kids, do some fails. You will learn, and you will not be afraid of that. So you will be, you'll get more results, more fails, do more, fail often, but in a good way.
That advice goes along with the Silicon Valley mindset that we promote here. This is like one of the greatest skills of entrepreneurs here, is to be able to fail fast and know how to fail, and be able to stand up back again and continue moving on, creating amazing innovations. Speaking of which, I'm really interested in this approach to innovation that today many local ecosystems in different countries have. And we see the global shift, how we speak, everybody in every country hears about fourth industrial revolution and disruptive innovation. And we see people coming from all over the world, from different countries, to Silicon Valley, because Silicon Valley is a bubble. It's like a little epicenter of where innovation originates from. But then there are a lot of local stories, and Silicon Valley itself is not, even though it's very global and international, multicultural, but still it is a very local ecosystem that has its insider rules and very specific environments, and that boosts innovation. But then there are other countries that have very different cultural environments, and they have different historical settings and different economies and different regulations. And innovation happens in a different way in those countries. I feel that what you're telling about the transition to electric cars in Iceland seems like a smoother journey, like an easier path, because it seems like Iceland is a pretty innovative country where people are open-minded and government is willing to support what you're doing. So what is your take on innovation in Iceland and innovation in general in like smaller countries in Europe, or you travel a lot, and what do you see, how this local innovation happen and what helps them, and what should be done to support those local innovators in all those smaller countries and countries that are far away from Silicon Valley?
Yeah, Iceland is we're a population of 340,000 people. So it's a small country. That's both good and bad. It's good in a way that, it's easy to get, two people. You can tell them what you're doing, you can raise your hand, if you do something special, everyone will follow it. And it's, it's a short way to go to talk to the minister. You always know someone that knows the minister. So it's all these things are really good, and that's why we are often very successful in innovation, and all this. We have very creative people in Iceland. So these things all have, but on the other hand, it's the fear of failing, because this is a small island. You can't hide. If you fail, you fail in front of everyone. So that's really what stops people. If they were not so afraid of failing, they could do much more. So, but I don't care. I just do what I think is best, and if I fail, it's okay. And even though I'm in front of everyone, so but you have to practice to be okay with this. This is not something that comes naturally to normal people, I think. So. So there are good things and bad things to be in a very small country where nearly everyone knows everyone else. So,
what are other innovations or like trends that Iceland has today? What makes Iceland unique in terms of innovation?
Oh, we have a lot of very well educated people. People, and we also have. people that young people, they study in Iceland, then they go abroad to study more, and usually we are people from Iceland, when they go abroad to Harvard or wherever they go, they score very high on exams, and I don't know why that is. It's probably they that's what they want to do, and they are clever, of course. But then we have also companies that are related with geothermal and hydro. Very that's our expertise, and but we have also tech companies like a company called EVE Online. They have one of the online gaming, and that's huge. And they're just some guys that started this a few years ago, and it went booming. And we have a lot of these stories that we are doing things that small countries shouldn't be doing. It's we are.
How is the startup environment in Iceland, Gisli? Do you have many startups in Iceland? Are there many people trying to do what you're doing as well? Is it a popular career?
Yeah. It's people are. It's the government. They kicked in at last, and they're pouring in money now to the infrastructure of electric cars. And actually, it was just announced this week that they're putting up, charging stations around the whole island. And the island is about, there's one road around the island, which is like 1,000 miles. It's 1,400 or 500 kilometers. So, and I actually was one of the first that went on an electric car on this road around the island. And I did it in a Tesla. And it took me just over 26 hours with all the stops, and charging and everything. So I have the world record of going around the island in a Tesla. And because at that time, that was in 2014, I think, people said, oh, there will never be, you cannot not charge if you go around the island. And I say, you can charge wherever you want. It's, all the camping sites, they have plugs. And people, oh yeah, that's right. That might be right. Yes. So I much of that what I've been doing is proving people wrong about this thing. You cannot do this. You cannot do this, and then I have to do it. So and that's really good. Because people, many people they try to stop you. This is not possible. You cannot do this, and that's okay. They either don't know better or usually they don't, but sometimes they are trying to be nice to you. They're trying to warn you because they don't believe in what you're doing. But you have to be not afraid. And even though it means that you fail, please keep on. So
amazing. So this adventurous spirit of doing this amazing things that seem to be impossible for so many people brought you to this another next adventure, which is the treasure hunt. And this is a very unique story. It's not a story from tech world. It's a story from some historic adventure movie world almost. Exactly. So please tell us about this amazing project. Yeah, it looks like some pirate manuscript manifesto. Please tell us about this project and what's going on there.
Yeah, and I'll go far back. In 1667, Holland was they had colonies in East Indies, and every year they did send a ship to East Indies to bring home all the goods like silk, spices, diamonds, gold, copper, all the things that they had gathered over the whole year, and bring it to Holland. But in 1667, Holland was in war with England, and they were pirates. So they did send 4 big battleships to find, to escort the ship to Holland. And the ship they sent to bring the goods, its name was Het Wapen van Amsterdam, which was the flagship of the fleet. And I'll just show you here. This is, can you see the ship here?
Yes, we can see the ship. Thank you for sharing.
This is, yeah.
This is a model of that ship that sunk in 1667.
So, yeah.
It's good. So you now definitely know what you're looking for, right?
Yeah, this is also one of the things that I think, helps me is I have in front of me always what I'm doing. Like when I was importing the Tesla, I had the Tesla on my desk. And, I try to use...
Visualizing your goals is rule number 1 for all the dreamers.
Oh, it is. And I do it very, try to have it, always in front of me. So that's really good. And and this was in 1667. And then, when they had to go, they didn't want to, because they were in war with England. They went over in the north of England, the British Isles, and went down to Holland. But that time there was really bad weather. So all the ships, they drifted to the Faroe Islands, which is in between Iceland and Scotland. And there one of the battleship went down. And then the Het Wapen van Amsterdam, it drifted to Iceland in this really bad weather. And in the sands, in the south coast of Iceland, there's a lot of sand, black sand, because of the glaciers. The water melting from the glaciers goes into the sea. And the ship just got stuck in the sand, which is like a quicksand. And in 2 days, it went down in the sand and disappeared. And there were about 220 people on the ship, and about 68 they survived. So the ship just sunk in the sand. Like there's about 100 ships in the sand. So, but one treasure ship. So in 1960, there was a guy that got the rights to search for the ship from the government, and he got, another team with him in 1970, and they were searching every summer with, very the best technique they had at that time. Trying to find, in the sand, they had some hoovers and going over the sand, because they don't know exactly where the ship went down, and also everything has changed, the sand and the layers. So in 1983, they thought they had found the ship, and they took some, samples, and they said, "Oh, the ship is here." So they put down, steel, around the ship, got all the sand out, and because the ship is probably on like 20 meters down, but the ship they found was a German trawler that went down in 1903. So the
no treasure, unfortunately, no treasure.
No treasure. Yeah, so they just stopped searching, and this was 1983. So like 5 years ago, I was thinking, what about the treasure ship? Why is, everything has changed from 1983, the technique, everything. So
yeah, now there is technology, innovation, and
drones
to help you get those treasures out from the sand, right?
Yeah.
That was pretty insightful.
So I started to talk to the government and the prime minister, and it took me a few months. Then he gave me, permission to search for the ship, and then I had to talk to the the government bodies, to get rights to. That was really hard. But in the end, I got, the licenses I needed. So then I had to find the team. So I have a few guys on the team that, have a lot of money, and they're mostly from abroad, and they loved it.
And what drives them? Do they want to have even more money after they found treasures, or they will just return the treasures to the government?
This is one thing I also did. In the first search, it was a treasure hunt. It was, all or nothing. We are going to be billionaires. That was the mentality.
By the way, what does the law say? Can people who find treasures own it, or do they need to return it, or just pay tax to the government? How does it work in Iceland?
Yeah, you have to make a deal with the government. So now I only have like a letter of intent from the government. So when I think I have where the ship, where the ship is, I will go and we'll make a deal, because no one else is looking.
Oh, so you did not negotiate how you're gonna share the profits yet.
No, so they just say you will be rewarded. It says. So because I want to have another approach.
So I think that you were more, just be honest, Gisli, you were not motivated by like the idea to find those treasures, but more to the idea to be the man who found the ship.
Exactly.
Right?
I think it's a better approach, because the last time they searched for the ship, it was they were going to be billionaires and they found it. So there was a lot of disappointment when this happened, and they all got, they had spent all their money, and everything went bankrupt, and all these things. So I said to all my partners now, okay, this is an adventure. There's a bonus if you find anything. So this is, just look at it as an adventure, and let's enjoy the ride.
Yeah, and, it's more like archaeological expedition at this point, other than a business incentive.
Yeah, so that's the approach we're having. So it's more like a fun. It's let's enjoy it. Let's go to the sands and see what we find. And pay along as we go. And then then I got in a hold of some guys that have drones, and last summer they found I think it was a B-32 bomber from the World War II that went down on the glacier in Greenland in 1943. They took their drones to Greenland and they found the bomber. So I've been in contact with these guys, and they love this. We will bring our drones. We will come. We will join your team. We will find the ship. So how
does the whole technological part of this equipment expedition looks like? So what's going to be happening? What is the technology behind digging into the sand and like getting this treasure?
This is really complex, believe me. And there's a new technology that we can see in the sand. You can see 20, 30 meters down. So we will map all the area. It's a huge area, and then we will look at the findings, and try to find out which ship it is, because we have like 100 ships there. So we will have not this one, not this one, not this one, maybe this one, maybe this one. So maybe 4 ships that we could, and then we drill down, take a sample, and if the sample is from 1600 something, then we are good to go. And then we sit down with the government. And I'm also going to, have a meeting with the Dutch government, because they will probably say, this is our ship. Where is this?
I can suspect that that's a more likely scenario, actually. So we'll be negotiating with another government, not your government.
So I want to, yeah. I want to, be secured whatever happens. They can write then about this. I don't care. But we are very certain that.
What are realistically your chances? How do you evaluate your chances? And what is the timeline? When do you think you're going to be able to get results or not get results?
Yeah, we will. We're going to the sands with the team on 26th of June, so it's not far away. And they actually say, Gisli, we will find the ship. Don't worry. And these are experts.
So your guys, your tech guys in your team say, don't worry, we're going to find it.
Yeah.
Exciting. What do people say? Do you have a lot of followers, and is media excited about this story? Like, do you have some nice coverage? Like, do people support it? And does everybody want to go there and like watch how you're going to be doing this?
Yeah, it's really difficult.
Or they say, what is he doing? It's like all those billionaires are going to get even richer. Yeah.
No, actually, we have been very hush on it now. When I was, 2 years ago or 3 years when I got all the rights, I let everyone know this is happening. And then just sit there saying nothing. So you're the first one I, tell about it.
Oh, so you're doing this secretly. It's not, there is no big PR campaign about this story?
No, not, we really want to go first down there and see if we can find the ship. And then we can go, we have found the ship. It is there. We have the, coordinates. So
yeah, I understand what you're talking about. Like, it's better to do than to talk before you do that.
Yeah.
That's smart.
So that'll be fun.
Exciting. So we are now, number one, very privileged to be among the first ones to hear about this exciting mission and share with our audiences. But everybody, we are not, we're not telling anyone where the treasures are.
It's okay. There's no internet in Iceland, so it's okay.
No internet. The people speak English in Iceland. Maybe they're definitely not. We actually never had any group from Iceland in Silicon Valley. We have groups visiting from all countries, but in Iceland, no. You are the first person from Iceland we talked to, and we are very excited to see what kind of amazing people, entrepreneurs are there. Oh my gosh! So when do you think you will be able to share exciting news with us about this mission? How everything ended? So it's going to be end of June this month.
Yeah, end of June, beginning of July. We could, then I could tell you what we discovered on our first trip to the sun with the team, and yeah.
You should do a documentary movie about that. That's definitely is a historic event. Definitely.
Yeah, the Icelandic TV is making a documentary about this.
Good,
so they will also take us to this end.
Those are all amazing. Wow, Gisli, so many amazing, inspiring stories. You are full of surprises and all kind of big ideas, and also you were able to execute on them, which is not for everyone, for sure. So this is amazing. We definitely want to stay in touch and hear about your future successes. Just as a conclusion of our very insightful for us conversation, what would be some of the advice and lessons that you could share with entrepreneurs who want to be the change in their communities, who want to build successful companies and businesses, who want to do exciting projects? So what are some of the main things to keep in mind? You already sat down then. Fail, don't be afraid to fail fast. What are other things that from your experience you can share with them?
Yeah, I also mentioned greed. Don't let greed run your company. Take care of the nature, and believe in yourselves. That's very important. And don't be afraid of failing. These are a few. It's not my invention, but I like these things. I'm happy with that.
All the genius things in the world are pretty simple. That's just having this passion and believing and not being afraid of anything. So this is just another time proof of that anybody, no matter where you come from, Iceland, Africa, Europe, some small country in Central Asia, doesn't matter where you come from. If you believe in your dream, if you want to make things happen, you will find your way to do it. And Mission2Mars Academy is here to inspire you with great stories from amazing leaders like Gisli Gislason. And we wish you best of luck with all your endeavors. And we're looking forward to hear the results of all those exciting missions. And maybe see you here in Silicon Valley together with Elon Musk and Richard Branson, of course, next time.
Thank you.